Pokemon, the wonderful series where you travel across the land massacring the pets of strangers. Who doesn't love talking about this series? Over the years, there's been tons of discussion and theories surrounding the lore and backstories of its world's mysterious creatures. But forget about that. That topic is so overdone. Here at the Pikasprey Show, we like to innovate and do things differently than everyone else. I don't mean to toot my own horn here, but I happen to know a thing or two about getting views on YouTube. And what better way to be exciting and original than with a countdown video on things I don't like in a video game? Specifically, I want to talk about the jerks of Pokemon, the people who talk down to you, the people who walk all over you, the people who, more often than not, get away with it without any consequence. There are plenty of people who fit this description throughout the games, but I've narrowed it down to the top 6 I personally hate the most. Roll the counter. Saffron City. What a convenient place. It's placed right in the middle of the entire region and allows you, a 10-year-old child, to reach the other cities of Kanto without the need of going through dangerous forests and caves. It's a good thing you get access to this area once you reach Cerulean. Now things will be a lot more wait, what? The road to Saffron is closed. Why? Well, whatever. Once we take the underground path, we can just go in through the south entrance instead. Oh, come on! As it turns out, literally every single road leading into Saffron City is closed. There is no given reason, no explanation, you just can't go through. But every guard is sure to remind you of how dang thirsty they are. Once you take their not-so-subtle hint and get them a drink, you'll finally be allowed to pass through. And as soon as you get there, you'll learn the shocking truth. While the guards may have made it seem like there was some sort of roadblock that made it so the general public couldn't pass, it turns out that there was absolutely nothing there at all. As far as I can tell, all 4 of these guards were denying people from entering the largest, most populated, and likely the economic center of the entire region because they wanted someone to go get them a drink. The word of the day, kids, is extortion. Okay, how have none of these people been fired? On one of the nearby routes, a girl even implies that she and her friends couldn't go to school because they can't go past the gate. I'd also like to remind you that the same city that was so closely guarded by these idiots is the same city that gets completely taken over by Team Rocket later in the game. What, did they just toss you a 6-pack of cola so you'd look the other way while they took dozens of civilians hostage? Just goes to show how useless law enforcement is and always will be in the Pokemon universe. Oh, how can I possibly make a list of jerks without including everyone's favorite Mary Sue, Silver. Or question mark, whatever his name is. Pretty much every encounter with this kid goes the same way. He calls you weak, you battle, you win, he whines like a sore loser, still insists that he is better than you, and leaves. Seriously, this guy really gets on my nerves, especially when you completely annihilate his team. He'll still say something like, "You only won because my Pokemon were weak." What kind of an excuse is that? That's like the same thing as saying, "I would have won if I didn't lose." The best example of how bad a person he is can be seen after you beat him at the Burn Tower. This is why I hate battling wimps. There's no challenge in it. Excuse me, but what battle were you watching? Because I'm pretty sure I just kicked your ass. The reason I place him so high on this list is because he does eventually learn to love his Pokemon and treat them right. But really, you hardly get a few sentences from him saying as much, and it still doesn't make him a very good character, in my opinion. Other than that, there really isn't much else to be said about him. I've more or less summed up his entire lines of dialogue throughout the game, so there you go. Originally, I wanted to pick Gary from Red and Blue for this spot since everyone thinks of him for the meanest rival, but really, Gary wasn't even that much of a jerk when you think about it. In fact, you're more of a jerk for just destroying him as the Pokemon champion right after he wins it. Although I do have to admit, unlike Silver, at least he had more of a personality. While we're on the subject of sore losers, there is someone else that frustrates me, and this person is none other than the Dragon Gym Leader of Johto, Claire. In order to enter the Pokemon League and challenge the Elite Four, you must collect 8 badges. After collecting 7, you have to face Claire to get the last one. And after you finally wipe out her team of annoying Dragonairs and a Kingdra that she likes to spam full restores on, Claire refuses to give you the badge. The reason she gives for this is that you are not worthy of receiving it. The real reason is that she is just a baby. In order to receive the badge, she makes you go into a cave and pass some trial, which, depending on your version of the game, is either retrieving an item or answering a few questions from old people. I have a better idea though. How about you just give me the badge that I rightfully earned because it's your job? I'm pretty sure you can't just refuse to give me that. In fact, you should probably be fired for this. In Pokemon Crystal version, one of the old men at the shrine even threatens to report her behavior to Lance, aka the Pokemon League champion of that game. Seriously, Claire, there are Team Rocket grunts that accept loss as better than you. And aren't you supposed to be a grown woman? Who do you think you are bullying a kid like this? That fact right there is what really makes her, in my eyes, one of the biggest jerks in Pokemon. You want me to pay how much for that bike? This next character is someone who I surprisingly never hear anyone complain about. And once I really took the time to break down everything that I despise about him, I found it amazing that he hasn't spawned a million memes and jokes on the level of youngster Joey's phone calls, or Professor Oak's telepathic scolding whenever you try to ride your bike indoors. Get out of my head, you evil sorcerer! The character in question here is none other than the gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. Why, you ask? Well, there are multiple reasons, the first of which can be seen when you first try to visit his gym. For whatever reason, this man thought it was a fun idea to plant a large tree on the only path leading inside. Because of this, you're forced to board a cruise ship and rub a strange old man's back while he vomits, in order to learn the technique to cut trees down. And once you're inside, you have to solve a puzzle that, to this day, I'm convinced that Game Freak commissioned Satan himself to create. How it works is that there is a room filled with garbage cans. Randomly placed inside two of these cans are switches that, when both pressed, will unlock the door to Lieutenant Surge's room. You might think that sounds super easy, but unfortunately there are a few additional rules. The second switch does not appear until you found the first, and when it does, it will appear one can adjacent to where the first one was. This means you essentially have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. And if you choose wrong, the entire thing resets and you have to start searching every single trash can again. Yippee! There are times when you'll get it right away, and times where it will go on forever. And since it's nothing but random chance, there's absolutely nothing you can do to influence the result. I swear, when I was a kid, I almost spent an entire hour on this one part during one playthrough. And can I just mention that Lieutenant Surge has made sure that all of these trash cans are filled with trash? For the sake of having his visitors dig through it, he's been purposely saving all of his waste for a god knows how long. What a dick. And the #1 jerk in the Pokemon universe is Lysander. Oh man, how I love to talk about this guy. For those of you who don't know, Lysander is the main villain of Pokemon X and Y, being the leader of Team Flare. His goal is simple. He seeks to create a beautiful world where everyone is treated equally. How's he going to do it? Even more simple. By killing every last living thing on the planet. I'm actually not even kidding about that. I don't care what that letter on the box stands for, this is in the game. In fact, towards the later end of the game, Lysander simultaneously calls every single person in the world on their holocaster to tell them that they're all gonna die. Oh, but don't worry, he's not gonna kill anyone that's a member of Team Flare, though. How do you join Team Flare, you ask? Well, that's also simple. All you have to do is pay an entry fee of $5 million. Which, by the way, is 5 times the cost of the bicycles in this world. I also just want to point out that one of the reasons Lysander wants to kill everything is because he despises human greed. Yeah, irony much. As if all of that wasn't enough, after your final confrontation with him when you foil his plans, he actually tries to destroy the building you're in an attempt to kill both you and himself. Again, friendly reminder that this is supposed to be a kid's game. In my opinion, Lysander is no doubt the biggest jerk in Pokemon. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I know it's been a while since the last video, but thanks for sticking with me, and hopefully I'll be getting more videos out more frequently. If you want to see new videos in the future, then hit the like and subscribe button to show your support and all that jazz, or not. I can't force you. Your life, your decision, your YouTube. If you're in the mood for some more Pokemon videos right now, then I'll recommend these two right here. The first video is where I discuss the various amounts of unused content in the first generation, aka the only video on this channel that has any frickin' views. The second is on my Let's Play channel, where I played this really weird Pokemon Minecraft-y horror game. It was fun to play, and I get jump scared like a little brat. So if that sort of thing interests you, then links in the description. Have a good day. Stay beautiful, everybody.